All right, so I'm guessing there's going to be lots of questions, so let's just throw it open. Right there.
Are you afraid of getting sued by anyone?
I'm keeping it together, and I think everything will work out. I think that you walk into a movie like this with a lot of assumptions, and I know that what we were doing was sincere at the end of the day, so I'm not that worried about things, but I think it'll be okay. I hope it was clear. There's self-doubt at times, and I thought we're doing something controversial, something that people might not understand at first, and I also felt like what we have to do is just treat everybody with respect and try to be as humble and compassionate with everyone we met, and still make something that raises a lot of questions. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely moments of self-doubt. I think that some of that moments in the bathroom right before that unveiling was, I felt a lot of that. So.
How's it feel, making a documentary that kind of proves both sides of the argument you were looking at?
I think it's great to be able to put yourself into your work, and definitely did that here. And I think I hope the movie represents the same journey that I went through, and I think a lot of us who were, everyone who was working on it, realized that being skeptical and rational sometimes can lead to being cynical. But I think one of the things about this is that it's not about being cynical. I think that's something we all left behind afterwards. So it does raise questions and proves sort of both points, which is maybe things are in our head, and then ask, does it matter? So.
Back into your role in society as a young person in America?
Well, I went to Columbia, and when you go to your 10-year reunion, you're talking to someone who just graduated from Harvard Law School, and somebody else is saying what they've done, and I just got back from being a religious leader in Arizona. So I think the alienation that's in there is, it was definitely not manufactured. In that I went there, my producers went to Columbia with me, and they said, "You want to just bring the camera there?" And so I was basically running away from the camera most of that time. So I'd say that was definitely not manufactured.
Did anybody ask why?
We were making a documentary on an investigation and a teaching and a philosophy of Sri Kumare, which is what we were doing, and what I hope this is really something about spirituality that people can look at in a different way. So also I think that if you imagine the rules of a guru, what are the rules of a guru? If there's two cameras there, it's not strange. The thing about Kumare is that he's from everyone's imagination in a lot of ways, so nobody knew what to expect, so having a camera crew wasn't that strange of a thing.
Everybody knew the cameras were there, the cameras were out the whole time, and basically we told them the truth. We're making a documentary about Kumare, our teacher, and his teaching, and it asks questions and explores spirituality in America and what is the spiritual experience. So, they said, okay, I get it, that seems to be what you're doing.
It's nice to have a little Kumare with me at all times, but I'm also, I live in Brooklyn and I'm Punjabi. It would be weird if I didn't have a beard, I think.
Did you find anything beneficial from not being rude, but from
Well, yeah, I think that, I'm not sure if it, I hope that it comes out that, this is not anti-yoga or meditation at all. I mean, I think part of it is about authenticity, so I definitely, I'd practiced a lot of yoga before, during this sort of transformation, and I really did get into it a lot, and so I definitely do practice yoga pretty often. So.
He inspired a lot of us to take up a yoga practice as well, and that's something that I never really thought I would ever be able to do, to be honest. Being an awkward 6'7" guy.
I was Kumare the entire time I was in Phoenix, outside of the house. There was no moment. We weren't filming. If I went to Blockbuster to get a movie, I was Kumare. So a lot of our experience, I think this third day in Phoenix, I was walking, we were in Trader Joe's, or Trader Joe's, and there's a guy who's at the end. He's not in the footage very much, but his name is Brian, and he's about Steven's height, and he saw me squeezing like a mango at a Trader Joe's, and he came over and just started crying. And we just were hugging for a while, and I don't know what's going on here, but I just went with it. And yeah, so Kumare was, people who wanted to find Kumare found him. You know?
Have your beliefs changed, or has your belief system changed at all, like after the film, or what kind of things changed?
I mean, the experience has definitely changed me, and but I think that one thing is, I don't think I've lost. Any sort of I'm still a skeptical person about things, and I want to ask questions, and none of that's left me. But I think, this connection that the people in this movie, I really felt a deep connection with, and I discovered things about myself that I didn't really, that surprised me. Just sort of when you're acting like a person who just cares about everybody and not about yourself, it definitely makes you think about who you are. So all the questions that I hope are in the film, I was definitely asking myself during that process. So I think it's opened me up to being not going into a direction of cynicism, but thinking that being skeptical and being believing that people should have faith can go together.
How do you relate now to those rituals of childhood that were on display at the beginning of
One of the reasons I put that in there was because I just feel like, if anybody grew up in a religious background, it doesn't matter what religion it is, there were things that they didn't want to go along with, and they seemed boring, and they want to go watch TV and not go to church or temple on that day. And so that was my, hope that people could relate with that. But those rituals, I understand them now as an adult and understand why they're done, and I don't really have the same annoyance about them. So I'm positive towards that. And are you referring to having a beard? Yes. Okay. Well, one thing about Kumare is that, I didn't wear shoes for a couple months. I've started wearing shoes again. And I carried a trident around and wore a lot of other outfits that some scantily clad outfits, but just in general, I wore a lot of outfits. So I think all of that, when you're in this costume, and I think that's part of one of the reasons people love going to masquerade balls. They feel free. Everyone loves dressing up, and the strange thing is that, it definitely has an effect on who you are, because your identity comes a lot from how people perceive you. And I think with Kumare, that was the thing. As far as my beard, when you haven't shaved in like 2 or 3 years, it starts feeling more comfortable to have one. And not to downplay your question, I definitely understand that. But the mirror also in the movie is something that we were teaching people, which is that you should look inside yourself to find your answers. You don't need people outside, and that the guru is just a reflection of who you are. So everybody saw what they wanted to see in Kumare. What they wanted me to be really close to nature and be like a rugged guy from the woods, they saw that. If they wanted me to be like a father figure, they saw that. And oftentimes, I was just listening, which seemed like the most important thing to most people.
How long did it take you to decide how you were going to reveal? And what were some of the scenarios that you went through? I thought this was a great experiment in authenticity, so thank you for doing it.
From day one, where I was always thinking about how to relate our message to the people in it. And so it was constantly on my mind. There's probably a list of ways I imagined it, and a lot of it was, I don't know, there were so many different ideas. But as we started, what we really wanted to do was to let people know our message, and even that moment of the killing the Buddha that was mentioned in the scene before that, we related these ideas to people, so that it was all about trying to figure out how we can relate this to the people in the movie so they understand what's going on and why it all happened. And I think a lot of them really did, as you could see. All the people, all these people a lot of these people responded very positively and got it. So there's a laundry list I could go through. Those.
Thanks to everyone.
And please remember to vote on your way out.